Hey guys, I'm Dav, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. As you can see from Durthu, we're here with Argulon, the Wood Elves, going to be facing up against the Vampire Counts, and indeed we do have the Durthu Death Star. So this is one of the best games I've had with this particular build, which you guys have probably seen by now. We'll go ahead and run through it one more time here. We've got 5 Eternal Guards up front, 2 out on the wings, and 3 in the center. 2 Azrai Spear, for rear guard. We've got 2 Dryads standing on top of Durthu and Tree Man. So the idea is with the Tree Man, he's got 100 armor, heavy physical resistance, and very hard for the vampires to take down. Obviously the regular Tree Man does not do the most armor piercing damage, but 500 total weapon strength is still very nice. Magic damage as well, so they're going to be good against ethereal units. To support them, we do have a Branch Wraith with Earthblood for that healing, of course, and the Penumbral Pendulum to help break up, vampire chaff. Even armored infantry like Graveguard, if you overcast this, it will still do quite a bit of damage against them. We've also got Sword of Daith and Flock of Doom on Durthu. I also brought Wiston's Wild Form because I had a little bit of extra gold, although I'm not going to be using it a terrible amount in this particular game. We've also got 2 units of Sisters of Thorn for our mobile auxiliary option. One here, and one is currently chasing these guys through the forest here. And yeah, these guys, of course, have physical resistance. The Curse of Onrare and Shield of Thorns bound spells, a few charges, 2 charges of Curse of Onrare, 3 charges of Shield of Thorns. Solid combat stats with really nice missile damage to unarmored targets. So all in all, very useful units. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at my opponent's build. So he's got Vlad von Karstein for his general. And Vlad is obviously going to be the most immune to Waywatcher nuking. The Waywatchers are a huge risk to vampire characters. Obviously, if you lose your lord early on in a battle, you're going to be behind the 8 ball really bad as the vampires especially. So Vlad von Karstein is going to be relatively immune to that. That being said, I haven't brought any Waywatchers, so he's not going to have the most tactical flexibility here. That is the one issue with the infantry tank lord archetype, is that you generally are sacrificing most of your tactical flexibility in order to just not have your lord get gooned, which, in and of itself is potentially very useful in certain matchups. That being said, Vlad von Karstein is probably one of the most tactically useful of the infantry tank lords in that he at least has access to Lore of Vampires, which of course is critical to the vampire's success. He also has Master of Beguilement, which is a targetable -44 melee attack, which is a nasty debuff, very strong. In addition to his abilities that make him super tanky, the Von Karstein Ring, which is only a one-time use, but 90% damage resistance. Probably best to use this after Vlad has gotten to his healing cap, since he also has the Blood Drinker Ring and, the other usual stats to help him regenerate. Also has the Aura of Dark Grandeur for that -4 leadership, which, is not a lot, but anything helps. In addition, he also has 2 black coaches. So indeed, Vlad's Uber, he brought 2 just in case one broke down. But these guys are a bit of although they are a bit of a meme unit, I think they do have a niche against the Wood Elves. I mean, obviously the Wood Elves generally struggle with chariots, unless you bring enough Wild Riders or Sisters of Thorn to pin them down, which, they definitely will. Chariots are going to be an issue because the Wood Elf infantry is all relatively low mass. The chariots can push through, get onto your archers, get onto your skirmishers, just disrupt your formation, do a lot of impact damage to your infantry. So I really like the pick of the 2 black coaches here. They also have AP and magic attacks. And these sort of series of progressive buffs here. So if we look, it does need to stay in melee for these to activate, but first it gets more charge speed and charge bonus. Next it gets fire damage, which is very pertinent in this matchup, particularly with the tree units, and 40% AP, which again is pertinent in this matchup. And with the final level, it does gain damage resistance and Strider. And although this looks nice on paper, the fire damage and the 40% armor piercing, at the end of the day, the Black Coach has really pitiful combat stats, only 24 attack and 10 defense, so you would, in order for it to do any kind of damage to a tree unit, especially a tree man, You probably need to hit it with that Dance Macabre or something to buff its melee attack. But I'd be interested to see. Maybe I might have to do some testing with that. But I do like this pick here, even though it is a bit of a meme unit. Very much like this pick. We've also got the Blood Knights, of course, 2 units of Fellbats for the infantry who are currently getting charged by my Sisters of Thorn. We've got 3 Graveguard in the center. One of them is the Sternsman, Skeleton Spears on one side, and a Skeleton Warrior on the other. In the forest here, the forest that my sisters were chasing initially, we've got the Chillgeist and the Dire Pack. So 2 regiments of renown. The Dire Pack Direwolves have an anti-large bonus, obviously better combat stats and leadership, and the Chillgeist have much better combat stats. They also have this Chilling Aura, which is minus 36% speed in an area of effect, which means that these are probably the only unit on the Vampire Counts roster that can catch Sisters of Thorn, and maybe one of the only units in the entire game that can actually catch Sisters of Thorn because of that that speed debuff there. Sisters of Thorn, because they have poison missile attacks and the Curse of Anraher, are pretty much impossible to catch, even for very fast attack units like these Dire Pack, for example. They have 95 speed, but once they get hit by that poison, they're not going to be able to keep up with the 85 speed of the Sisters of Thorn. However, with the speed debuff from the Chillgeist, despite them being hit by, counter speed debuffs, they probably are still going to be able to catch these Sisters of Thorn. So, since the Wood Elves, a lot of the missile units for the Wood Elves lost their magic attacks, ethereal units are going to be less risky against the Wood Elves. They are still going to be risky, particularly Banshees and Cairn Wraiths, because they will get beat up by tree units really bad. But things like Flock of Doom over the course of a long battle can chip away at a unit like these Chillgeists here. But a little bit of a stealth pick and kind of counter meta, similar to the Black Coaches, but I do very much like that pick here. And yeah, let's go ahead and get rolling and watch what happens. So as you can see, as I was doing the introduction, we were kind of cycle charging a bit with the Sisters of Thorn here. And the idea is, as much as possible, we're going to try to draw away these mobile units like these bats and maybe the direwolves and just countercharge, because of course Fellbats don't have the combat stats to stand up in a straight up fight against Sisters of Thorn. So if we're able to get them engaged away from support, then we should be able to get them cleared off the battlefield before the mainline engagement gets underway. We are going to be pushing my main force up and through the forest this way. Because my opponent has a kind of a little high ground position here, I don't want to attack him head on, so I'm going to take the long route, kind of come over to the side and attack him more or less on even ground here. But yeah, Sisters of Thorn just continuously getting in. These Skeleton Warriors are going to be the best target because they don't have a lot of armor, but they will still do damage even to the Graveguard as well. You can see my opponent has a bit the bait, so to speak. Going to be following with the bats here, and also dispatching the Dire Pack and the Chillgeist to try and catch my Sisters of Thorn. I dropped the Curse of Anraher out at a distance to make sure these guys weren't able to catch and even get close, because I don't want to get hit by that Chillgeist aura if at all possible. So my opponent wisely going to be pulling them back behind the lines here to not take too much skirmish fire. So we're just going to kind of continue to poke and prod and try and find any kind of weakness here, and maybe try and force a mistake possibly while we wait for this force to get up and around here and engage on a more favorable position. We're just going to kind of poke away at my opponent and try and do as much work as we can. So again, just coming in for another cycle charge on these poor Skeleton Warriors here. We're just getting absolutely pummeled by the Sisters of Thorn. You can see coming in doing some really nice shock damage and then immediately pulling away. Just before these units have too much of a chance to react here. The Chillgeists are really the only thing that I'm scared of. As long as we get the engagement away from the Chillgeists, and obviously I don't want to fight on top of Graveguard either, but the Chillgeists are the main danger here. So you can see my opponent did get far enough away that I felt comfortable coming back on a counter charge, and you can see these bats just get absolutely beat down by the Sisters of Thorn here. They are already crumbling, and you can see this unit's just about off the battlefield. This unit's in much better shape. It was pretty much fully healthy when we countercharged, but we are still going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Probably drop some unit models as well. My opponent, realizing the mistake, is trying to pull his bats back away and screen out here with the Chillgeists and the Dire Pack, but we did clear out one unit of Fellbats, which is great. Anytime you can clear out fodder units like that before the battle starts, it's going to be very nice. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if we've been hit by that Chilling Aura. Not quite yet. Looks like we're just in front. Unfortunately, the Dire Pack did hit their charge speed, so a few of them are going to be getting attack animations here as they chase. And the Chillgeists also, just 1 second to miss micro here is going to cost me pretty substantially. We were far enough away that I figured it was okay to engage on the Dire Pack here. You can see the Sisters are winning that combat pretty handily, but just barely stop my micro for a second on these Sisters of Thorn, and they are going to get caught by those Chill Geists. And now that they're in that chilling aura, they're going to have a really hard time pulling away. So very nice catch from my opponent there, using the bats in tandem. But again, just going to pull away from the Dire Pack with them being poisoned and everything. We also hit the Sisters with the Shield of Thorns just to help their weapon damage. They'll be able to clear out these low armor units a little bit faster. But yeah, it helped a little bit, I like to think. But the Chill Geists coming close enough now to get hit by that Flock of Doom by Durthu. Going to start chipping away at their hit points. So far, I'd taken very little damage and had done over half HP damage to that Sisters of Thorn, so very nicely played by my opponent. We have emerged from the trees and going to be getting the mainline engagement underway shortly. But before we do drop one more Curse of Anraher. I have had to burn quite a few of my support buffs in kind of this periphery engagement, but we have managed to clear out 2 units of Felbats and the Dire Pack, as well as, you know, just getting some nice cycle charging done, doing some damage on the Skeleton Warriors and the Graveguard early on. So very nicely done here. We are going to finish off the Dire Pack there and just allow those Sisters of Thorn to rest up a little bit. Trying to bait these Chill Geists over into an engagement near Durthu where I can get him with the magic attacks, but I'm getting a little bit over aggressive here. I do get caught by that chilling aura. You guys can see how much of a difference it makes. Those Sisters of Thorn very easily caught once that chilling aura takes effect. We are going to be dropping that Flock of Doom though with Durthu, trying to tear away some of the hit points here, and we also are bringing Durthu down into combat here. We're going to try and screen with the Eternal Guards as well. You can see the mainline engagement's kind of a little bit haphazard at this point. The Blood Knights and the Black Coach is pushing very heavily over on this side, you know, breaking the bracing bonus and all that jazz. But we are going to get the Eternal Guards turned around and start to do quite a bit of damage to the Blood Knights. And the issue of the Blood Knights and the Black Coaches to an extent, although the Black Coaches are able to pull away a little bit more effectively, the Blood Knights are going to face the issue that anywhere they try and charge in, there's going to be anti-large armor-piercing troops. You can see dropping a very nice Penumbral Pendulum just cleaving through those Graveguard. Of course, the Eternal Guards are going to have a hard time cutting through the Graveguard just because they're not great at you know, doing damage. They do have the AP, so they will be able to do some damage in return, but that is going to send this particular Graveguard into crumbling, so we'll be able to win that mainline engagement more decisively and hopefully have some of my units left, which I'm definitely going to need to deal with these Black Coaches. You can see my opponent doing a very effective job in pulling away, not letting his Black Coaches sit in combat for too long. They do have some of their buffs now coming active. This Black Coach unfortunately is crumbling, but huge Curse of Years going down by my opponent, just debuffing this entire pocket here, allowing as Black Coaches to pull away. Of course, the Curse of Years debuffs speed and melee attack, as well as giving an ability recharge. So the melee attack of all these units being debuffed and the speed as well. A very nice kind of support spell from Vlad there. You can see a lot of these units have taken some damage. Dryads routed off here. These Dryads have taken some damage, but we have been able to kind of push through on this flank. And, you know, we're kind of chasing the Blood Knights here with these anti-large troops. We are going to catch just a few, but, you know, they are going to be able to pull away. Obviously, they're a lot more mobile unit. And the Sisters of Thorn that was out on the far side, unfortunately, is going to get caught and, you know, pretty much wiped out by those Chill Geists. But that being said, the Chill Geists are on the other side of the field, so we're able to deal with a lot of the infantry effectively. You can see, though, plenty of Graveguards still fighting. They've definitely put a beating on these Dryads here, and the Black Coaches at this point just absolute menaces. You can see Vlad dropping that upgraded invocation to heal up his Black Coaches, but the Uber ride is here, and you know, they're definitely glad to take Vlad home after a heavy night of drinking so that he doesn't have to drive. So he did bring 2 along just in case one of them broke down, like I said earlier, and they're going to be very effective at cycling around and you know, cleaving through a lot of the Wood Elf's infantry here. But the issue is Durthu and the other Tree Man, and that is often the case I find when I'm using this build against the vampires, is they just don't have the stopping power to put down the trees. You can see this Black Coach is in melee here. We did drop the Curse of Anraher to just give it 0 melee attack, literally, but it does have the flaming damage and the armor piercing, so, I mean, we'll see. Maybe it's able to get a little bit of damage done on this Tree Man. I doubt it with how pitiful the melee stats are, but at this point we've got, you know, 94 kills on Durthu. Racking it up pretty quickly. Durthu and this Tree Man, since we kind of have this Black Coach pinned in here, are going to come in and just start smacking him back and forth a little bit. The Chill Geists have cleaned up all the units on the periphery, so they're going to have to come into this mainline engagement now. That is potentially going to be very, very painful if Durthu and this Tree Man get their paws on them. Of course, they both do magic attacks. We'll just absolutely cleave through those Chill Geists, but the Terror Some very nice charges from different angles from my opponent. The Chill Geist and the Black Coaches all cause terror, so get a little bit of a chain route situation in the center here that's kind of scary. You know, if my opponent can clear out most of my support units, if he can clear out these anti-large armor piercing, you know, then maybe he can cycle charge and use, you know, like the Hex Wraiths and the Sternsman to just wear down Durthu and this other tree man over time. That being said, the balance of power is starting to go in my favor. Vlad is not quite at his healing cap yet. Let's go ahead and zoom in and take a look. So Vlad is getting close to his healing cap, we can see there, but a lot of the infantry for the Vampire Counts has crumbled away. Only the Sternsman remaining at this point. The Chill Geists have also taken a lot of damage from the tree-type units and are crumbling. We're going to drop a Flock of Doom to help speed their passing, as well as, of course, catching these Graveguard over here. And yeah, at this point, my opponent is summoning up some zombies just to keep his model count up, to keep from getting army losses. But at this point, it's going to be pretty tough for him to come back. He has been very effective with these Black Coaches here, just cycling around, and has managed to clear off most of my infantry. You can see there's only a couple units here of Eternal Guard kind of holding with this tree man in this pocket here. Durthu is all alone, but we're going to unify the tree men now together and try and take care of the last of these Black Coaches. You can see that Black Coach just cleaving through the lines there, doing some nice impact damage, and going to be coming back around for another charge. So definitely some wild driving from the Black Coaches there, very effective. You can see a terror route going down on those Eternal Guards, so I'm having a hard time keeping my infantry support in place. That being said, none of these troops can really put a beating on Durthu. I mean, the Black Coaches do have AP and can get fire damage, but just the pitiful combat stats mean they're just not going to be able to make contact to Durthu, of course, with his high melee defense of 48 compared to the 24 melee attack, so it's literally doubled the attack of the Black Coach. So I mean, he's taking some damage though. You can see with Vlad smacking on him, and these Graveguard kind of wearing him down, and the zombies, you know, and the Black Coach in tandem with all of that, it is starting to wear down Durthu and this tree man a little bit. And you know, if my opponent, I think, had picked a little bit different infantry composition, I think this army would have worked a little bit better. But I do very much like what he took here. And we'll kind of talk through that on the endgame screen. You can see not too much time on the battle left. Balance of power is pretty heavily in my favor. My opponent's just trying to go for glory at this point and get as many kills as he can. So, yeah, vampire units just getting cleaved apart in the center here. We've got Graveguard and zombies just getting stomped on by Durthu. Vlad himself is still alive, I believe. Oh, yep, he's between a tree and a hard place, so to speak. Gonna be beaten down by both Durthu and the tree man here, and the branch wraiths. So, wow, man, Vlad, whatever tree you cut down in some forest somewhere was the wrong tree. Well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. That actually was against Javers, who's a tournament player, and did a very good job kind of countering my build, and I really like what he brought here. So let's talk through a few things. On number one, Durthu got 187 kills, so that's great. 36 kills and an XP chevron on the tree man here, 95 and 2 chevrons on these Sisters of Thorn. Only 7 kills, but an XP chevron on this War Dancer here. You know, probably got some good work done against the Black Coaches. Some decent kills across the board in terms of my other units, but for my opponent's army, which I really want to kind of analyze a bit more in depth here, 118 kills on the Sternsman. I do very much like them. Graveguard are going to be really good at killing Wood Elves infantry. They're going to be really good at, you know, against other Wood Elves infantry. That being said, I think it may be more beneficial. I mean, definitely bring the Sternsman, but you could cut these other two Graveguard and just go more fodder-centric. That way you have more time, because they're going to crumble slower. You'll have more time for these Black Coaches to get the work done that they need to, because you can see both of them got some really nice work done. 77 kills, 89, an XP chevron for this guy. If they had just had a little bit more time and weren't being targeted as aggressively, you know, by the trees early on, I think it would have been a bit better. And I honestly think that Javers is onto something here with the Black Coaches. Vlad is a decent pick here as well. I really like the Chill Geist. They ended up being very effective. The Blood Knights, not so much. They really had a hard time finding a home. Like I was saying earlier, anywhere they tried to land in this army has anti-large armor piercing, so there's just not really a great place for them here. They would be able to put some damage on the trees if they could get to them, but when I stand on top of a War Dancer or you know, an Eternal Guard, it makes it pretty difficult. So you might cut them and just bring more stuff, but I do still like the pick of the Blood Knights here. But definitely the Black Coaches I think are a great pick. I might play around with a similar type build against the Durthu Death Star and see how it does, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How would you go about countering the Durthu Death Star with the vampires? Let me know. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.